I have been so overwhelmed since August, since my birthday. But life is a blessing and life is a bitch. So I just gotta go with the tides and the flow. And really, I'm a spiritual person, of course. I believe in God, creator. Of course, I believe I have helpers. And of course, I believe there's negative entities that do like to test us, F with us. God did give demons permission to fuck with us, to help scare us straight, if you will. Teach us a lesson, teach us to be better with our boundaries. They have a lot of supernatural gifts. I'm not promoting demons or, fucking with them. But I didn't even mean to say this when I started the video, but really, since I brought it up, when you really think about the gifts and the powers that God has given and bestowed upon His creations, God loves us. He loves it all, right? And His angels He made before us, and they have some pretty badass gifts, right? They're beyond our imagination. And even though demons allegedly, according to biblical readings, God didn't create the demons on the 8th day, but that was a result of the fall. And nonetheless, if God is all-knowing, He knew that was going to happen. He set everything into motion, knowing all the dominoes would fall as they would. And He has the end goal in mind, I'm sure. I don't know, I'm not God, but I'm pretty sure I can count on my Creator. If He knows everything from start to finish, then He's got the end goal, and He's got the end plan, and He knows all the things that need to happen in order to accomplish His end goal. Not mine, not yours, His. So anyways, I don't condone, demon worship or even trying to test them or getting good with them. But I do have a healthy respect for them, because if there is a demon near me and my guides let that happen, that means I probably need to learn something, or I need to learn how to fight against evil again. Sometimes God puts me in situations around people I'm like, what the hell? Why? And I never always, I don't always get an answer. Sometimes I get a few little, reasons, but it's never it's not for me to know His plan. So when I'm lucky and blessed, so we'll just call it blessed, when He decides that it's something that He needs to explain or should or would benefit or whatever He chooses, sometimes I get a little tidbit. But from my experiences, I would say, if I or anyone finds themselves surrounded by a lot of negative energy or people that bring it, there's a lesson to be learned. Sometimes that lesson is recognize where the hell you're at and get the hell out of there. Recognize where you let your guard down or made yourself an easy prey, or realize what you're doing in your life, mind or heart, that maybe God is not God, creator, the all-living spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it. If it's not in harmony with what the plan is for you or the whole, well, then you may have some spiritual beings there that are not so friendly and kind. They're there to motivate you to change your path ASAP. Demons love testing people. Don't forget that. They love it. They get a kick out of it. They can't wait for the next time the angel looks the other way so they can do what they do. So we got to keep our guards up. And it's not easy, is it? It's not easy when you got one hardship after the other. It's not easy when you think you've taken care of one problem, 3 more pop up. And it's not easy when you realize your arms are only this long, but you have to reach out that far. I guess we'll call that T-Rex syndrome. So it's not easy, but it has to be done, because what's the alternative? The alternative would be, we're not going to say that. We don't want to speak that. But sometimes I do have to speak things that I don't want to, not because I want to manifest the negativity, but sometimes you have to acknowledge what you're dealing with. If you're faced with a fear, a challenge, a hardship, ignoring it and acting like it's not there, it's not going to make it go away. It may prolong the the inevitability of you having to deal with it or face it. But it's not going to magically just disappear because you don't acknowledge the child was conceived type shit, you know? It's still there. We still have to learn to overcome. And even though I've had like, I can't say it was the worst week of my life by any means, but it's been hard, real hard. The power went out when Melissa came and knocked the power out here. We were without power 2 days, and me being, you know, I'm a psychic, yeah, but I don't have like an office where people come and visit me. I'm listed online. I don't really get a lot of calls. I probably haven't paid enough for advertising in the right Google AdWords or whatever to get that, you know, buzz going. But I do work online on another site that's, you know, international, and not only was I out of power, you know, lots of other people were affected by Melissa. So I was out of work for 2 days on that alone. Just that alone. And then the 2 days after that, there were no calls coming in, which could be for any, you know, could just be it just wasn't my day. It could be everybody thought somebody else was looking more in tune. Could be other people not having power. Could be other people broke as hell and can't afford to shell out any money for anything other than food and things that you need. You know, it can be so much shit. So whatever the reason, fact is 4 days out of 7 I was literally not working. Wanted to, tried like hell, but I even walked up to first McDonald's. They didn't have an outlet in their dining room, so I went to Taco Bell, and I was going to try to work online there, but I have this issue with my laptop, and the keyboard doesn't. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So I have this wireless keyboard, and I plug it in, and I'm all good. But I forgot it. I packed up everything but the keyboard. I walked out. It was probably a good 20-minute walk. Walked 20 minutes. Carried about 50 pounds worth of cards, a laptop, and other crap in my bag. And I get there and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have no laptop. So I walked back. I mean, I tried. I was trying to work. I was trying to make sure I could get online and all that, but nothing was working. And that was a frustrating spot to be in. It's like, you feel like I'm facing homelessness. I've already said this a million times in the past month or two. But when the lease is up here, I don't know where I'm going. My brother is my roommate, and honestly, at this point, he's carrying me and my kids right now, and I hate that. I'm grateful, but I hate it. I'm 46. I shouldn't need to ask him for anything, you know. But I have to. I don't ask him for anything, but you know, we're here, and I'm not able to chip in because I don't have food stamps. I don't have enough money. Even before the food stamp were canceled, I don't have them. So yeah, I'm just like grateful, but also feel like shit, you know, like, well, he's like, when can you pay me? And I'm like, I wish I knew. I have no control here. There's no control. All I can do is log in, make some posts on Facebook, and the rest is trust, faith, and wait, and patience, you know, patience. And it's wild because I feel for my brother. He's working 2 jobs. You know, he didn't have no kids. He has to deal with mine. And he's not complaining. He's not. I'm not trying to say he is. But I just feel bad because it's like, I didn't expect it to take so long to get back on my feet. I really didn't. And I thought I'd be able to make more money so I could at least pitch in half for the bills or a quarter. And it's this past month, really since August, I haven't been able to give him more than 125 in a month. And it's not because I don't want to. It's not because I just got all this money sitting here for my when I move out. I have nothing saved. Nothing. So how am I not losing my shit right now, right? I think anybody would be like in a state of panic. I got a 12-year-old, a 21-year-old who's just finally realizing, you know, yeah, I guess I'm not gonna die. I guess he thought he was gonna die by 17. He was saying so. And I can relate. Actually, I can relate because I was raised Jehovah's Witness. So growing up, all I heard was the end of the world's near. The end of the world's near. So I too grew up, went through junior high, high school, and in my mind, I wasn't going to be around after 20. There'd be nothing here. I didn't have any plan for living that long. So much like me, you know, slightly different reasons, but same thing. Yeah, it's like, what are we gonna do? And I'm trying to help him, and I'm trying to guide him, you know, and thankfully, you know, he's listening. That's helpful. It's helpful. He's trying. But we're limited here. We are so limited, and I already cried my tears, I think, around my birthday. Like, my birthday, I literally was here in tears all day. Yeah, happy birthday. You're getting older, your life's falling apart, and you don't got a pot to piss in. I was begging friends online, friends and my mother's friends even, like, can you please help? Can you please help? I had no food again. I don't even eat that much. It's for the kids. I need to feed them, especially my growing one. Anyways, so yeah, I already cried so much. I spent about 2 weeks in a state of depression, and I was mentally, like, I think I might have to call CVS on myself, because I can't. It's not that I don't want to, I just don't have the means to supply for everyone the way that they need, or the standard that everybody else has. It sucks. It's hard. So I'm not crying now, I think, because I already cried about it already. I already grieved and kind of came to terms with this is where we're heading, it looks like, and I'm just accepting, you know, if it happens, I just have to be okay with whatever happens, because if I'm not, what the fuck am I gonna do about it? Go cry in a corner for another 2 weeks? I mean, that don't help shit. That don't help shit. Crying, it is not gonna help me right now. So yeah, I'm trying to stay positive, and I did a money spell. What is that cinnamon blessing? I've been seeing that online, I think, since October. That's the first time I ever heard of it, seen it. I'm not really a witch. I believe in energy and manifestation and all that, but I'm not really one to, like, go buy all these supplies and it's not me. I'm not against it, you know. It's not me. I couldn't afford it anyway. Can't afford your things, your goblets. But I did try this cinnamon money spell, and thankfully I did have cinnamon. And Tyler actually, you know, we're scavengers. When you are poor, if you see something on the road just laying there and it looks like something you could use or whatever, you won't grab it. That's a blessing. That's what we call, in the hood, we call that a blessing. God put that on your path and you get it. So Tyler, you know, he finds things and he brings them home, and that's how we have this whole nice room full of furniture. It's because of him. You know, slightly me, I'll help carry a few things, but it's him. And yeah, so he brought home some things, and he brought home, like, one of the big things of cinnamon. It was huge. And I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll give it a shot. What do I got to lose? A handful of cinnamon that I didn't pay for? So I went ahead and did it. I did it in October, and, you know, October really wasn't a great month for me, but I do believe, like, after I did it, you know, I did have a little burst of extra callers soon after. And then I did it again on November 1st. And I think my son Ty, he said he also, like, clicked on one of those claim your blessing, you know, God's got you money coming thing on Insta. So he did that, and I did the cinnamon thing. And neither one of us knew what the other did, but we both did a little something, trying to manifest some financial blessings for security needs. And yeah, so I ended up actually having my best day in probably about 2 weeks. I want to say yesterday. The first one was still kind of slow, but yesterday was pretty good as far as my amount of callers coming in went. It was definitely a better improvement from 0 or 1 that I was having. I was like, what the hell? Where is everybody? So yeah, there was a big improvement there. I had like 6 or 7 calls versus the 0 to 1 that I had for the last few days before that. And what was even more cool though, and I already made a post about this, but I'm making a longer video because I'm monetized. And I have to make original content, so this is about as original as I can get at the moment. And yeah, so we're just gonna chill in the bathtub. I'm shriveling here. I'm getting my full soak on, little reflection, and an ADD moment there. But yeah. So I woke up, it was yesterday. I wake up, I go to bed. There was $1 in my Cash App account. Nothing in my PayPal, I have no other account. So I had $1, like $1.50. And that was it. And I was like, boy, I gotta pay this. I have to pay my, like, I owe 96 in commission to the site I work on. And I had $1. And if I didn't pay this commission fee by the end of the day, they cut me off until I pay it. You know, it's only fair. It's only fair. I do the deal. I have to give my dues. But I was like, well, again, the powerlessness, the feeling of powerlessness, and just the utter defeat. Like, well, what am I going to do? Other than hope and pray, you know, it comes through. So I go to bed like that, and I wake up the next day, and I pick up my phone, and I see a little notification that my bill was paid to Netflix. And I literally was like, well, how did that happen? I don't have no money. So I go look, and the Netflix was paid, and there was $30. Well, no, sorry, there was like 24 left in my account, like as a balance. And I was just, of course, I go look in the activity history, and I can't figure out where this money came from, y'all, but it was there. It paid the little TV bill, so the kids, you know, well, the kids, Oliver, mainly Oliver, so he's got something to watch other than the internet, and, you know, something for me to watch when I'm in the mood. But, yeah, I had like 24 extra. That meant basically 30 was added to my account somehow. No sign of where, no sign of when, nothing. It's just there. And phew, it came at the right time. I mean, it wasn't enough to pay the invoice, but I did get, you know, like I said, I got more calls that day, so I was able to get it paid. Phew. Actually, I was able to pay a small one first, and it took me to the second. I paid the other one yesterday. Oh my! So that was like, okay. When that happened, and I couldn't find like any evidence of where it came from. I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. Maybe I'll figure it out later. But in my mind, I had to wonder, like, is this God, the universe, you know, just did an intervention for sure, something or someone did, no doubt. But I kind of took it as like a sign, like, you know, there's struggles, but you're gonna get your help. Don't worry, you know, don't worry too much. And I also was remembering, like, I think it was like end of August, beginning of September. I was in the bathtub, and I usually meditate, talk to spirit, and pray when I'm in the water. And my hand's slipping. So on this day, spirit was telling me to take my washcloth. I had a dark blue washcloth, and they told me to go ahead and get it wet, put it on my face. So I did. I can do that, spirit. That's not too hard. So I put it on my face, and spirit started telling me, you know, they were pointing out, like see how you can't see anything in front of you, and you're covered, you're almost blocked, but you can still breathe. You can still breathe easily. Everything's fine. You're still safe. And they were telling me they want me to remember that as the months go on, because there was going to basically be another round of tests, another period where they can't intervene or interact too much. They have to stay back and see how I'm able to handle things and how I deal with things. And, you know, these are ways that spirit reads our heart, you know. If they're always intervening and meddling, it's kind of like when you take your kid to the doctor, and the doctor's asking your kid the questions, but the mom and dad are chiming in with the answers. That's kind of like the spirit world with us. We're the child, and the spirit world's our parent in a sense, and they will chime in and give us answers, but if they're always doing the answering, we're not really able to learn how to assert ourselves or grow or trust in our own abilities to solve things. And it's kind of like I'm hearing like lots of people talk about the tarot cards. If you use cards, it's a crutch. If some people feel that way, it's a crutch, it's a tool. Sometimes my guides even tell me, you don't need those so much. You don't need to use this, because I do use it like a crutch. I will admit, I can do a reading without them, but I guess for now at this period, I just feel more comfortable using the cards. It's something a little, so I guess the physical need to touch and hold on to something and all that. But okay, so like with the tarot cards, for some of us that rely on spirit, like me, I'm addicted to the spirit, like big time. Yeah, sometimes I will rely on it too much. Sometimes I'll avoid making my own choice and sit and wait to see what spirit says, which is ideally great and all. But if we're to be tested, truly tested, and come into who we are, we need to learn to rely not just on our own judgment, but give ourselves the opportunity to try to exercise it, to see the result, to make changes, and learn how to guide our own selves more easily and effectively without spiritual intervention and help at all times. I don't know about everyone's spirit, but I know for mine, one of the goals my spirit has is to be on the other side, guiding people from the spirit realm more. And I believe part of the reason why I'm here is to get a deeper understanding, of the human experience, and how when I am back on that other side, how I can better help guide people using the experiences and the relations that I've had through these lifetimes. That's just my theory. Of course, there's no scientific evidence. Jesus didn't come down on the cloud and tell me, Jessica, this is what it is. This is just how I feel about my purpose and how it works. And that's just how I feel today. Next week, I could tell you something else, because, damn, I'm a woman, and we're always shifting and changing. Always. Never a static moment, really. So, okay, so moving on. I'm going to try to wrap this up because I'm shriveled. So moving on with staying positive. So this morning I was talking to my son Ty, and I don't remember what got me thinking about it, but I started thinking about the Harvey flood of 2017. My son, another thing he found outside was like New Year's party things for 2017. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that's when Harvey came. And I start thinking about Harvey. Like, I was I was telling my son the story. He's heard it a million times, but some of the things I've been through, that the way that they panned out, I still to this day, even though it's been like almost 10 years later, I'm still like, holy shit, that's wild. But like in this story, I was at it was a trap house, alleged a recovery center, but it was just a trap house. I was homeless. It was somewhere to stay. I vibed pretty well with the people there. And I stayed there off and on for about a year, and just kind of backpacking, moving in and out. But about a year. And then when Harvey came, the owner of this place, his name is Joe, he comes up to me and he tells me I need to get off his property now, and he's like screaming and mad and like, I'm just like, what the hell? I was just chilling here, and all of a sudden this man's coming up to me, and he was the man who ran the house, owned the house allegedly. So of course, if this man says I gotta leave, but my initial reaction was like, what the fuck? Harvey was like, it just hit the shore of Galveston, and I'm in Houston, Northwest, so that means like in another hour and a half, we're gonna have some fucked up weather, and this man's telling me I need to leave the property, and he knows I'm homeless, and I'm just like, what the hell? And he gave her a reason. I guess I did something 2 months prior to that. I smoked some dope on his property, even though everyone on his property is in there selling the shit, but I hit something, and he knew that I did it. I admitted to it. I gave it a try, and I tried it, and I was just retarded for a minute. So it was pretty easy for him to tell. And And I didn't lie, so I was like, yeah, I don't think this is the shit for me, dude. And he cussed me out there on the spot, but then let it go. So for him to bring this shit up 2 months later as a hurricane's approaching was just like, yeah, that shit's fucking weird, right? And I started to, plead with him, freaking out, scared and panicked. What? How can you do this to me? What the hell? That was 2 months ago. I went on, but then the spirit just stopped me. It stopped me dead in my tracks and just put this reassurance on me that, hi, did you forget God's with you? If this man's trying to get you away from this home, there's probably a good reason for it, and you should probably be glad and leave. So I gladly left. I skipped away like a frolicking fool down the road. And I called, I thankfully had a phone on me at the time, and I called a few of the people that I had known in the area, and a young man named Elijah was one of them. So for Hurricane Harvey, I left the rock where they lost their water anyways. God told me he was going to take it away because they were bad people. There were bad people there. So yeah, they did lose their water, as God told me before before it happened. God was not happy with that rock. And yeah, so I'm pushed out of this place. I call Elijah. I escape the rock, and I go stay at the Palms. I'm at the Palm with Elijah, and I'm like, wow, is this a storybook in modern day time, or what are we doing here, Lord? Just running with it, right? So Elijah, he was also somebody who was like in between homes, houseless, whatever, and thankfully, he knew somebody who had an apartment at the Palms over there in Houston, and he was letting him stay there. He was able to stay there, and I guess the guy whose apartment was, he said he was out of town. For all I know, it was just a bando, and he didn't want to admit it, but I don't know. I don't care. I know Elijah said, you can come stay with me, Jess. I got you. So I went to go stay with him. And dude made me ratatouille. I didn't even know if it was a real dish, but it is. And this shit's good. He cooked it for me. He got me all comfortable, robes, comfy clothes. I got straight up, stayed in a robe that whole time. And what was really interesting is, okay, they had a patio. We're on the first floor apartment, and I go on the patio outside, and the street is like here. See, the street's here. And we're down here, and there's a hurricane coming, and I'm just like, oh, this don't look good. This looks like I'm gonna really get screwed up here, worse than the rock, because we're below the street level. So that means all the heavy waters and flood and all that's all coming down to us, right? Logic says that's what's gonna happen. So I'm sitting there. I still smoke cigarettes a lot back then. I'm smoking a Newport, just like, oh fuck. This is not gonna be good. I'm gonna die in my sleep. I'm gonna drown in my sleep, aren't I? But nonetheless, that's where God brought me, and no water came in. None, not a drop. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Even Elijah, when after the first day of the rain, he went outside to go find some cigarette, look for a cigarette, and he came back dry. He left a few times. He came back dry every time, left on a bike. How is that possible, y'all? I don't even know, but it happened. And I ended up going back to Mr. Joe's place, The Rock, and they were like 5 feet deep. Like all the water I thought was about to come into the place at Elijah's. That's what happened at The Rock. It made no sense. The Rock was even farther away from the shore. It was a good, a time drive, probably a good 10-15 minute drive down. So it was not a whole lot farther, but it was farther from the shore. It was higher on ground level, but they got the water that I thought was coming in to get me and Elijah. I don't know how it's possible, but it was such a big miracle, And when I had that come to my mind this morning, I really did again feel like Spirit, don't forget, telling me, don't forget we're with you. Don't forget what we've already gotten you through. And it is hard to forget. I hate to say that, or it can be hard to forget when I get so focused on all the things I want to take care of, not just for my own self, but for my family. And it's hard to remember when so many of the things that I do keep trying to achieve and accomplish seem to be just like not moving. And it's frustrating. And I really do need to remember that, when things aren't moving, it's not always a sign that it's the end or we need to give up. Lots of times it's a matter of alignment and divine timing, as far as, maybe the things that we're wanting aren't ready for us to get them yet. Maybe we're not ready to receive them yet. Could be, there's a lot of maybes, I could be here for an hour thinking of maybe this, maybe that, but the fact is, if God is always in control and He knows, and He's got a purpose for it all, and He knows the outcome, and everything that has been placed in motion from the beginning is all for the sake of the outcome He wants to achieve, and knowing that He's already made me a part of anything at all and walked with me as much as He has, I really do need to remember it more. I do. Maybe you do too. Maybe that's why you ended up seeing my video of me pruning out in the water here. But. I mean, what else can we do? Sometimes I would be trying to leave Kroger's with a whole lot of groceries in the back of the car and a couple gallons of ice cream, and I'd be trying to get out of the parking lot to go take all the food home. But sometimes it seemed like whenever I was about to pull out, a car would be on the road, there goes that chance, there goes that chance. And there were quite a few times where I would get so mad, so frustrated. Why can't I get out of this parking lot? And well, one time I did make it out of the parking lot after a long wait, and I was watching every car that went by, so I've seen so many of them. But when I finally got out of the parking lot and down the road, not even a mile, quite a few of those cars I was pissed off about being able to go before me, they were all in a really big, scary wreck, like a 10 car pileup. And I just knew when I saw that if I would have got what I wanted and moved as fast as I wanted, well, we might not have been able to make dinner later. I might not have had a baby to feed later. I might not have been there later. So when I saw that, I mean, this was back in like 2010 that I saw that, but I still remember that shit because it gave me the chills so bad, and it really gave me that perspective of, maybe God's making you wait because He wants to keep you safe. And, maybe it's not about keeping you safe. Maybe He wants you to go through some hard times so that you can see how strong you are, or how strong He is. Maybe. I don't know. But I know this baby needs to get out of the water because I have officially done it. I hope y'all are having a good day. I know life is really freaking hard, especially in America. I mean, that sounded so wrong. Not especially in America, far from it. But especially with the families that do depend on the food stamps, not only just for eating, but also for their business income. There's a lot of businesses that are missing out on a lot of money this month because they agreed to accept food stamps, and now, what happens to that? Many people build businesses up and they rely on trends and patterns, and they plan out their well-being for the company and their families off of these trends. So when the government does stuff like this, all those businesses are going to be affected. So I'm really praying for all of us. Stay strong, learn to budget better. I'm in that boat too. We're all going to have to make some changes. It's the year of the snake, so I guess a lot of us really need to get get ready, if you haven't already, to shed some old habits, some old skins, some old mindsets, some old beliefs, some old people, some old problems. Because something new's coming, whether we're ready or not. Whether we are ready or not. I am not ready, but I'm trying to be. How are y'all handling everything?